Hi, I'm Meghan Bergman, and before I create a work of art on the pottery wheel, I first wedge the clay. So that's just aligning the clay particles so that there's no air pockets and popping out any of the air bubbles so that the clay isn't too hard or too soft and it's ready for throwing. All right, so next I'm gonna throw the clay on the pottery wheel. So first I smash it down to make sure it sticks to the bat. And then you need lots of water so that when I'm spinning the clay, it's not gonna take my hands. It's gonna just glide smoothly. So this is called centering the clay. So I'm using my hands in like a parallel formation to try and put the clay right in the center. So I'll go down and up a couple of times. This is the trickiest part. When you're first learning to throw on the pottery wheel, this is what you're trying to first learn how to do. So when I'm centering the clay, I'm really like locking in all of my body. I'm connecting my arms to the bat. I really have to use a lot of upper body strength to push the clay into the center and kind of tell it who's boss. Show it that like this is the 90-degree angle that I want you to stay in, and really hold strong to form it into that center so that when I gently place my hands over the clay, it's not wobbling back and forth. It's perfectly in the center so that I can make a symmetrical pot. Then I'm gonna open it up to create the opening for the cylinder. So sometimes I'll form my hands into a heart shape, and then I'll use my thumbs to push down into the clay. Taking my time. So after many years of practice, I just know what it feels right, and in terms of pushing down enough so that I have the bottom isn't too thin or too thick. And then I'm going to kind of curl my thumbs and separate them to open the hole a little bit wider. So next what I'm doing is compressing the bottom. I want the bottom of the pot to be, the clay particles to be nice and tight, so I'm just kind of pushing down on them gently, compressing them. The bottom has a tendency to crack because it dries slower than the top, and you want to try and have the bottom and the top of the cup dry together so that it prevents cracking, because as the pot dries, water evaporates out from the sides. And so when the water leaves the pot, it shrinks. And so if the top and the bottom shrink at different rates, then it pulls the clay apart and creates cracks. And then it doesn't hold your morning coffee. So now what I'm going to do is make the pot taller and bring up the walls. If I push with my outside hand more, then it's going to become taller like a cup or a vase. And if I push more with my inside hand, then it's going to, the walls will get wider, more like a bowl. So as I'm doing this part of the process, I'm trying to make the walls thinner, but I'm also thinking about the function or purpose for this vessel or form. What is its purpose, and how do I need to push the clay to create that purpose? So at the beginning of the process, I'm spinning the wheel a lot faster. Now I'm kind of slowing down a little bit as the walls are getting thinner. It's a more delicate piece. And then trimming the pot is easier when the clay is soft. So I try to trim as much as I can while the pot is still in this on the bat. Just trim all the extra away. And then I like to trim a little bit right under the bottom to kind of give it a shadow as it sits on the table. So I'll cut some of the bottom away, soften the edge of the sponge. There's so many little steps to make it just the way I want it. All right, and then I use a lot of drippy glazes. And so I like to create this little channel along the bottom, and it just helps catch those glazes. I like my pots to be kind of just right on the edge of disaster. Wabi-sabi, perfectly imperfect. And so if I create this little channel or place for the glaze to catch, it provides a nice little safety net. Rather than just having the sides of the pot being nice and smooth, I like to use a tool to make kind of a wavy texture in the side of my pots. I'll just get out all the extra water at the bottom with my sponge on a stick. And I can add the spiral in the bottom of the piece. For me, the spiral just kind of, I love it when you look down into the cup, the spiral just kind of draws the mind in, lets you know that it's a one-of-a-kind handmade object that you're holding. All right, now for those ocean waves, I'm going to use the rib tool to just kind of make it unique. I'll never be able to do this exact motion the same way again, so I like to add this because it catches the glazes, gives it a nice variety. Glazes look different when they're thicker or thinner, and so this helps with that. And then I really enjoy a cup that's like ergonomic. It has a spot that's comfortable for me to hold. So I'll make a little dimple for my thumb to rest. And for my other two fingers on the other side, so that when I'm holding the cup, it feels just right. And then I'll put the handle opposite that so that I can hold it here, hold the handle right there. And then just so the cup isn't super squished, I'll make the top or the lip of the cup circle again. And then just to smooth it out, because this is where my lips are going to touch the lip of the cup, the top edge. So I'll soften that with my little chamois cloth. And there we have a cup or mug. It gets its handle after it dries for about 8 hours, and then I'll attach the handle and set it to dry.